Right, the next video is 2-point perspective. Now, following on from what we did in the last video on 1-point perspective, this one here is obviously the 1-point perspective. This here is a 2-point perspective. Now, obviously, perspective is a realistic way of drawing the objects in 3D. 2-point perspective is different to 1-point perspective in the fact that they use 2 vanishing points instead of the 1. By doing it this way, it makes an object look even more realistic than if it was to be drawn just with that 1 vanishing point. You can see the difference between these 2 blocks. They're both the same block, okay, the same dimensions. However, this block here looks a lot more realistic than this one. This one just looks like the face with kind of lines going from it. It doesn't look any different to just a normal 2D design. However, this one here has a lot more depth to it. I'm going to go through within this just how you draw in 2-point perspective and what it is you need to be looking out for when you do this. First thing you need is obviously the ruler and a sharp pencil. You need to be able to draw what we call the horizon line. So similar to all the others, this is where the line goes straight across and we have the 2 vanishing points upon this horizon line. So vanishing point 1 will be over here, vanishing point 2 will be over here. I'll call it VP and VP for vanishing points. When we're doing 2-point perspective, we always try to refrain from drawing upon the horizon line. Okay, we can draw above the horizon line, we can draw below the horizon line. Try not to do it on the horizon line because it just won't give the same effect. Okay, so if we were to draw a box in 2-point perspective, first thing we need to do is just the center line. So how big the box is going to be. So I'm going to do a 3 centimeter box. So 3 centimeters there. That represents the edge of the box as we look at it. You then need to join up all of these, so the 2 edges, so the 2 corners to the vanishing points. So to both sides of the vanishing point. So we go from the top one and the bottom one over to the vanishing point. We do the same with this one over here. So the top one over to this side of the vanishing point and the bottom one over to this side of the vanishing point. With these construction lines in place, we can now judge our depth. So what's the size that this box is going to be? Because it is a cube, it's going to be 3 centimeters. So again, we measure out 3 centimeters upon the bottom. Similar to the 1-point perspective, similar to isometric, everything is done in parallel. So we follow the line across and we draw a line going up. Same on this side. Line going up. You can see now we have 2 sides to our box, okay, from just those parts there. The next stage is the tricky part. This is where people get a bit confused. So I've had people go, how do I get the top of the box? Because I'm just joining this one up here. It doesn't go. You have to go opposite. So this side goes over to this vanishing point over there. This side goes over to this vanishing point over here. Where the lines intersect is where we have the lid form, or the top of the box formed. And we have a 2-point perspective box drawn. Now, you can also do this above the horizon line. So if I was to do one above the horizon line, if we do a 3 centimetre one, not quite in centre, so we'll see what that looks like. We go to the vanishing point, over to the vanishing point, and as you guessed, this one to the vanishing point, and this one here to the vanishing point. Another 3 centimetre. Well, that's not quite to the vanishing point, is it? Sorry, that's not quite to the top of the line. So 3 centimetres there, mark out. 3 centimetres there, mark out. So exactly what we did with the 1 point perspective, where we took it above the horizon line. Because we've taken it above the horizon line, we can see the two sides and the top. Now we've taken it above the horizon line, we're going to be able to see the two sides and the bottom. So lines go over to the vanishing points, and now we have the bottom of the box. So we have the bottom, the side and the side on our horizon line. Okay, now this becomes a little bit difficult, I say, when you have a little bit more of a different shape or so. Okay, so we see a lot of people use 2 point perspective in drawing house scenes or possibly street scenes. Sorry, not house scenes, street scenes. Now, I love doing street scenes in 2 point perspective because it shows, you've got so much kind of room to maneuver within it. So I'm just going to go through how to draw a typical street scene in 2 point perspective. So we have obviously our horizon line going across. The vanishing points either end. Label it VP and VP. Now, I'm going to put on here, if we just start off with, like we did before, simple line. This is going to be the first of the houses. So over to there, over, over, and over. Work out how big we want the house. Now, we don't need to be very accurate with, we don't need cubes. We just need to draw things that look like, resemble a street scene. So it could be like an inner city scene. And then we have the first of our houses there. To then draw the next one, all we need to do is we put up the next block. So I'm going to have quite a tall tower block coming up. It's going above the horizon line, so essentially, because it's going above the horizon line, we aren't going to be able to see the roof. All right, so this one here will not be able to see the roof, but we still go to our vanishing point, another one to our vanishing point, determine how big the block is going to be. I'm going to say it's going to be that big, and then determine the depth of it. So it's going to be quite a thin tower block. And then I'm going to have another one. So we then do our next one. This one's going to be a small one. So because it's gone beneath the horizon line, I am going to be able to see how big it's going to be. Okay, now we can keep on doing this and keep on carrying on with that. If we wanted to, we could put a road going down. So we have a road coming down here, and then we have another road coming down here. So we have our roads there. We can also have markings in the center of the road. So we could put and as you see, as they go into the distance, they get and we do the same on this side as well. When we come to do a scene, maybe a house on this side of the road, we need to think about where this is. So again, we've got to accentuate, because we're going to see the face on here, we need to accentuate it out. So it comes out over there, and we can determine how big we want this house on this side of the road to be. I'm going to say it's going to be that big. And then both of these go over to vanishing point up there, vanishing point there, and there. And then if we really wanted to, we could then put in details such as doors and windows. So we could have windows coming down, so if we work out there, so to the vanishing point and coming down, we can work out how big we want our windows to be. We have, we can just colour that window in. Another lot of windows. Keep to the vanishing point. And it comes down. Okay, so that is a simple street scene. Now we're going to be getting on using the marker pens to shade in. Now these street scenes are a fantastic way of using the marker pens, but also 2-point perspective is a fantastic way of using marker pens to get the shading on because of the range of light sources that there is. Now we can see, if we follow on from one of the shading videos, if we were to shade in this, we have a light source coming from this side over here. So if the light source is coming down here, this part here, top part is going to be the lightest part. We have this back part here, which is obviously going to be the darkest. Okay, so we will shade that one in. The darkest, and then this one here will be not so dark, but not as light as that top bit. Okay, so hopefully that has made 2-point perspective a little bit more clearer, and I will move on to the shading with the marker pens in the next video. Thank you.